Well, we're very privileged to have a veteran in the industry, been in it longer than certainly than I have. So you've got a marketing background, you've got the Venn diagram here, we've got the marketing background, we've got the technology, and then also a bonus. You know, you have a background as an educator or from academia. So we're coming up a one-year anniversary with SAP's acquisition of Sybase, and you wear many hats. I guess you wear the hat of Chief Marketing Officer, EVP of Sybase, and now you're wearing an extra hat with SAP, heading up their mobile application group. So those are all a bonus to have. So we just heard from Sean about their platform and giving a lot of choice out there. And I guess the downside of choice is that you can fall into analysis paralysis, where you can feel like, where do I start? Sybase has done a lot of research in terms of frameworks and thought leadership. So how do you frame the kind of need set from the standpoint of the user, and then the categories of applications to meet those?
Sure. First, his definition for veteran is the fact that I was born in the 50s and he was born in the 60s and 70s. I think that's his definition of a veteran, I think. The second thing, I think, is, when you're in the academia, they tell you that people who can go to the industry, and people who cannot teach. So I said, well, let me give it a try and go to the industry, see if I can do something. When I came to the industry, they said, well, people who can do, the rest become executives. So, so today, what I'm going to spend some time on with you all is what JP said. We've been in the business for a while, and we've seen a lot of customers doing mobile applications or planning to do mobile applications. Today, just if you look at the pipeline for us, we probably have about 2,200, 2,300 mobile opportunities out there for the enterprise customers building mobile applications or attempting to build mobile applications.
I'm sorry, how many was that?
About 2,300 in the pipeline today. Okay, of actually opportunities. So we see a breadth of customers who have implemented or implementing or planning to implement mobile applications, enterprise mobile applications. So I'm going to focus my conversation predominantly on enterprise mobile applications and our actual experience with what we've seen in the customer base. So with respect to what kind of applications are being built, you could look at it in 4 clusters of applications. There are those that are very centered towards the process worker. These are very rich, intensive applications. These are applications, for example, mobile asset management for a field service technician, or a retail execution application, or trade promotion and pricing. It's these kind of applications. These are very rich and intensive applications that have multiple process steps. The second class of applications are those that are very targeted towards really interacting with your consumers, with the end users. Examples of such applications we see are certainly in the m-banking space, or even we have a customer who has a loyalty program established through the mobile devices with simple messaging-based approach. So we see those kind of applications that are very directed towards the consumers themselves. Then we see the third class of applications, and some we had talked about earlier this morning, which is just enhancing the general productivity of the employees. And these are the class of applications that say, well, can an HR rep, instead of asking the employee to come to the HR desk to talk about an issue, can the HR employee actually go and sit down with a tablet in front of the employee and have the conversation? These kind of productivity type applications. And the last, of course, and the one that's most politically important, is the executive type of applications for the executives. And to win the support of the executives for investment in mobile applications, there are dashboards or mining within dashboards, those kind of applications, KPI type applications. I think when you look at these applications, another class that we see, and I think it was Sean earlier that talked about this, there are 2 classes of applications. There are applications that extend the mobile enterprise itself, and there are applications that are transformative in nature. I think Samir at the very beginning addressed this point of transformative applications, and Sean just before me, he also followed up with that concept of transformative applications. And let me just give you an example of this kind of a transformative application or extending the mobile world itself. Take a person whose job it is to deliver beer at the local Quick Trip and the 7-Eleven and so on. And so he works for a beer distributor like Carlsberg or whoever, and he actually distributes beer across the different shops, if you will. One simple concept of extending the mobile application is, extending the enterprise is to say, well, instead of his tablet, okay, I'm going to give him his day schedule on a mobile device, and he goes over there and he delivers it and records the fact that he delivered 15 cases for the 7-Eleven and 10 cases at that Quick Trip. That's one simple way of extending the mobile application.
Right, that's not transformative.
That's not transformative.
We've been doing that.
Indeed. Now think about another situation. Now if you're able to do that, and he goes over there, and he looks at the prices of, he's delivering Carlsberg beer, and he looks at Corona, and he finds that Corona is offering 50 cents reduction for the next 2 weeks promotion over there. Okay. He now has an ability. Now you can create an application where he has now the ability to point out that event that he has just noticed and point out that the competition is offering a 15% discount for the next 2 weeks, and is able to transfer that back. And then if you have a back-end rules-based analytics application that looks at it and says, yeah, this is something we want to go against Corona, we want to be competitive in price against Corona, so you look back and say, yeah, we can offer a 15%. You have now transformed, you've taken a delivery truck guy and effectively made him a salesperson, a competitive marketing analyst, a pricing guy, all of that, which that's the part we say that is transformative type applications. And today, you're able to do that with mobile type applications. And you start looking, again, I'm going to refer to a statement Sean made, is you don't look at these applications of taking what is in the enterprise and extending it out, but you actually start looking at the applications from the mobile side and say, how is it that you write the application from the mobile side? Okay. So we see these class of applications, both classes.
So in terms of those classes, I mean, in that example, that was a vertical application. There was some pretty good depth there in terms of functionality, and you could probably command, looking at it from a business standpoint, you could probably command a little bit, you have more value, so you can command a little bit better price or license around it. How about this, what do you see emerging from the standpoint of, TA spoke a lot about these single purpose applications and, reeled off half a dozen that this one does this one does this one does this on the consumer side, but still, what are you seeing on the enterprise side?
Yeah, we have a reasonably robust ecosystem that is developing applications on our platform, and I see the ones that are successful in that of generating material revenue. And one way to look at it is, how many of you are ISVs building mobile applications on platforms, right? And if you establish and say, my goal for my company, and I will just take a smaller example here, my goal for my company is to have a $100 million business, and you assume the standard run rate business of 40% being in maintenance and 60% being in license. And you say, well, 60% in license, so I need to generate $60 million. And for a company of $100 million size, the breadth of my reach is going to be maybe 1,000 customers. So for me to generate that $60 million out of 1,000 customers, I may need to have a certain run rate with each customer to be able to do that. And then you work your way down and say, well, typically for any single rich and intensive application in a company, what should I assume is the average employee population. And to assume an average employee user population of 5,000 to 10,000 for any one application is not bad. That should be a good range to look at. And then if you went on a subscription model and said, well, that's got to be about $200, $250 a year application, and that's what it'll sustain. You start doing the math, and you pretty soon will come to the conclusion that for a $100 million company with its channel reach, limited engineering resources and marketing resources, and the kind of aspirational goals you have in revenue, you just naturally will have to focus on some rich and intensive application that you can generate to be able to do that. And that's what we see in our ecosystem partners. We have partners on our middleware platform